Hey everyone, I'm Mitch, and welcome to the Legendary Galaxy. Today, I'm going to show you my first ever attempt at 3D printing, and I'm going to be printing Jar Jar Binks. So this is my very first time 3D printing, and I wanted to print a skull. I got these out of, it was an official Star Wars toy. This is a little Gamorrean guard skull, and it was in sand, and I just thought it was really cool. I remember back when I was working in insurance that this guy had a skull collection, which was really weird, but I kind of thought it was cool too, so I kind of wanted to print a skull, and I've had this really tiny 3D file, or 3D printer file that was about this big that I had for a couple of years, and I've wanted to print it and didn't know how to or what was going on. And so that was the first thing I decided to print because I had the file and I really wanted it. But I enlarged it 320%, I believe, and made it life size. So here's where I started. I started with some filament that came with this used printer, and it just wouldn't work. You can see here how it just wouldn't stick together, and it was almost like it was a sponge a little bit, just squishy at the top. And then, so I bought a new kind of filament, one that everyone seems to be using for 3D printers, and it just worked. I put in some settings for the temperature of the bed it prints on, and what it comes out at the nozzle, and yeah, it worked. I didn't have very many problems, and so it just kind of shows if I can do it, you can do it. So you can see right here, this is the first piece I did, and this printed like this. It was took about 30 hours to print, so it was quite a long time. Yeah, turned out pretty awesome, and I'm just going to distress this and glue the pieces together. And then here's the ears that go on the back of Jar Jar. They fit right here. And then this is the back of the skull that holds those ears on, and the jaw. So this is the final piece. This is right off the 3D printer. Taking it off, have some of the supports here, and you can see I'm just going to peel it back. So these are all just to help it print better. So yeah, and there's just a few little pieces here, and then there's a little skirt that just helps it print. And so I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. And then this jaw fits into the back of this, I hope. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. We have this here. Oh, and we put the ears in here. All right. So here we go. The full skeleton of Jar Jar Binks here. The next step on it is I'm going to put on these gloves so I don't get super glue on my hands. And this is just like hobbyist super glue, and it is Instacure. So I'm going to see if I can get this to work here. See if I can get the top off. Get the ears here. Okay, here I go. And I'm just going to put a little extra in some of these holes just to make it easier make it stay better. So my next step is I want to get rid of some of these print lines from the 3D printer. So I'm going to use what's called a filler primer that will help even get a better texture on this. But I do want to keep it a little rough so I can, so it looks like bone still. So I'm pretty excited that this is my first 3D print and it's working so well. So it's awesome. So I got the skull all primed up. It did, that primer filler did help those 3D print lines. So I think once it's painted all the way, it's gonna look really good. But I am still gonna sand it, get some lines out, and I'm gonna use this epoxy putty to fill in some of the holes. So I've used this epoxy putty before, and on a bunch of projects, and I really like it because you just take off how much you need with a X-Acto knife or a blade of some sort. And then you take off the casing, and then you mix it together. And it hardens really quick. So, after sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding, I got it to where I wanted it, and then I just went ahead and painted it with some matte bone white color. I don't know, just a off-white color, and finished painting it. I really like where it's at now, and so now I'm just going to distress it and make it look like it's been sitting there in the sun or on Naboo for the whole time, for a while. I'm going to start off with just a black color. I'm just going to make a whole bunch of different colors of brown. Start with painting it on and then just wiping it off. See how that works to start with. Yeah, so it's just makes it more defined. It looks like there's dirt in there. I'm going to make it a little browner actually. Water it down a little bit more. So it keeps the color in the cracks. I'm just going to keep going. And here's the final Jar Jar Binks, all finished and painted. I love this, how it turned out. It's a lot of fun, and it's very weird and creepy. Okay.